Last week, I demonstrated a glowy makeup look to pair with our glowy skincare routine that we did at the beginning of the month. Today, I will be following along with that theme, and we're going to do a fresh and flushed full makeup look today. So what is fresh and flushed? Just me looking my most natural, my most beautiful self, but turned up a little bit. So a little coverage and a little bit of a glow. Glow is what makes me look the healthiest and makes me look the most youthful. So it's all about the glow always. All of the products that I will be using today are found on Blushington.com, and you can use the code BRIT10 with 1 T to get 10% off any of your purchases of $50 or more. I also teach online makeup classes where you can learn this look over Zoom in a one-on-one intimate format or with a group of your friends. If you are interested in booking our one-on-one group class or party, you can visit Blushington.com for all of the information. Thank you so much for joining me again, and let's jump right in. Let's get started. Hello, Nikki. Welcome. So nice to see your face. All right, so like always, I'm going to start cleansing my skin. The best makeup comes from the cleanest and best skin. So I'm going to get my cotton round. I'm going to go in with my Bioderma, and I'm just going to use this to remove any impurities from the day that might be on my face. I want to make sure my skin is perfectly prepped. I'm just going to gently rub over my face to remove anything from the day. Perfect. I'm going to go under my eyes just so gently. Always gentle with the under eye area. It is the thinnest skin on the face, and we want to make sure that we take good care of it always and are gentle. All right, now that I'm all cleansed, I'm going to wipe over one more time. I'm going to start moisturizing my skin. So I'm going to go in with my Embryolisse moisturizer. I like this one a lot. It is one of my favorites. It's going to help hydrate and prep my skin for a beautiful application. So I'm warming it up in my hands, and I'm just going to press it into my skin. So everything that I will be doing when it comes to putting on skin products like the foundation and concealer, I'll be using this same kind of pressing motion. I really want all of my products to marry with my skin the best, and the best way to do that is to press them in. All right, so I'm going to now go in with my primer. And I'm going to use my Pink Perfect Primer from Herborian. I really like this primer a lot. It gives such a beautiful finish, and I don't look super matte, or it doesn't make me dry. So it's a great, great product. I'm going to put it here on the back of my hand, and I'm going to go in with my foundation brush here. And I'm going to apply this just where I need it. So I get the most oily down my forehead, down my nose, all the way to my chin, and then across my cheeks and nose. So that's where I'm going to focus my product. I don't want to put primer in places that I don't need it. That kind of defeats the purpose, and it'll make me look less natural. And I want my application to look like me always. I don't want to look like I have on a mask or like I'm a different person with my product on. So I took it across my nose and my cheeks. And I'm going to also do my forehead and chin. Everybody gets oily in different places. So the best way to find out where you get oily the most is when you wear your foundation or your coverage. What does your makeup look like at the end of the day? Did it disappear? Where did it disappear from? Is it super oily in places? Do you feel like you have to blot all the time? These are great indicators to find out about your skin and what it does and what it may need instead. All right, so now that I'm all blended, I'm going to jump into my skin right away. So if you've joined me in my past classes this month, you know that I like to usually let my foundation sit on my face, my moisturizer and my primer sit on my face and kind of become one with my skin. But because I'm going for this dewy, glowy look, I want the moisture to still be kind of wet, kind of tacky a little bit, so that when I put my product on top, they just come together and I look hydrated and I look flushed and fresh. So I'm going to be using my Aqua Luminous from Becca. This is my foundation here, and I like it because it's going to keep me hydrated. It's all about the hydration, especially for a look like this. So it has a little stopper, a little dropper, like that. So I put some on the back of my hand. Hello, Marie, welcome. And I'm gonna go in with my buffing brush here. So what I'm going to do is on the back of my hand, I'm just gonna dip in, get a little bit on my brush, and I'm just placing it on my face, and now I'm just gonna press in as I go. So I'm starting here around my mouth and my nose, and I'm going to keep this same motion and take this all over my face and get a little bit more. And I want to make sure I get all of my skin. So I'm going to get close to my hairline. I don't want any gaps between my hairline and my foundation. That's how everybody knows that you have on makeup. And yes, I'm going over my eyebrows as well. I like to cover all of the exposed skin when I'm applying foundation to ensure I don't miss a spot. And the ears. If your ears are going to be out and show, you want to make sure that they get a little bit of color as well. So as you can see, I've been blending down my neck. This is to make sure that I don't have any lines of demarcation. On my face. Nice and pressed in and blended. Perfect. So now I'm going to let the foundation sit. So the foundation, the moisturizer, and the primer are going to be able to do whatever it is they need to do. And then my skin will let me know if I need to go back in with powder or add a little more foundation, or if I need a little more moisture in my face. So let's move on to eyebrows. Get my eyebrow pencil here. So I'm going to be using the Kevyn Aucoin Precision Brow Pencil. And I like it because it's so thin. So it's going to give me nice exact lines. As you can see, I'm drawing here. And it's not too dark in color, so it's not going to be too deep. It's very easy to do too much when doing your brows. So I'm going to start by brushing them up like this, so I can really see where I need to fill them in. I don't want to put product everywhere. I just want to put it where I need it. So I'm going to start under my brow here, where the hairs come all the way down. And I'm going to begin by drawing a faint line all the way to my arch. Like that. I don't know if you can see that. You can see it's kind of a line down there. And then I'm going to flick up with hair-like strokes from that line through the brow. I see I have a question, I think. Let me make sure. Yes, definitely. Just watch. Watch and learn. So I'm just very gently doing hair-like strokes upward from that line that I made. So this is going to help soften that line, and it's going to help give consistency and fullness into my brow area. So I'm going to take my spoolie now and just gently brush that product into my brow to get them to be one. So I'm going to do the same thing to finish off in my tail, drawing a line down and flicking through to add fullness. And now I'm going to do the top and just give it a little arch. I don't really have one, so I like to give myself one. A little arch in the brow just kind of gives your face a lift. You can see that from one side to the other. Looks so much better. So let's do this brow. This is my sad brow. This is the brow that doesn't, for some reason, just doesn't want to cooperate with me the way I like it to. We all have that one brow, and it's frustrating. So I'm going to, same manner, I'm going to start right here And I'm just going to draw a faint line. And I say faint, I'm holding my pencil all the way down here so that I have a very light touch, and I'm not really using much pressure. The key to having a really nice, beautiful brow is being able to see a little bit of skin peek through. That's why I like to be light to the touch. If no skin peeks through, it looks like you drew it on. If you have a little skin peeking through, it may look a little filled in, but to the natural eye, people just looking at you and throughout the day, they're not going to recognize that you filled it in. They're going to just say, oh my gosh, your brows look amazing today. And that's what we want. There's no compliment as nice as a brow compliment. All right, so now that I've finished the bottom, I'm going to do the same thing on the top, focusing where I need it, adding a little extra, and then giving myself an arch to match the other side. Like that. And then I'm just going to brush it in and add a little more here in the front. And then I'm just going to brush it all in together, just like this. So I've got eyebrows now, yay. That's the one thing I don't ever leave my house without, eyebrows, because at least right now, that's all people can see when I make my grocery store runs. So I like my eyebrows to speak for me. All right, so now that my brows are done, I'm looking for my concealer so I can begin my eyeshadow. Wow, that was quick. Here we go. So I'm gonna go in with my Jouer. Thank you, yes. And I'm gonna use that as my concealer, as my eyeshadow primer. So I have a little bit here, and I'm gonna start putting that on my lid. So the importance of eyeshadow primer is to ensure that you have a beautiful base, you have an even, smooth base, and it's gonna help make your shadows a little more vibrant and keep them on all day. So it's a lot of benefits to having primer or concealer in this case to begin your eye prep. So I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. And I'm just using my Delium 777 brush. This is what it looks like, just to blend all of this product in. And I'm taking it all the way to my eyebrow. Let me get just a little bit more. Perfect. So now I am all prepped. So now that I have my primer on, I'm going to set my primer. I'm going to use this little fluffy brush here. And I'm going to set my primer with a powder that's about the same skin complexion as me. I'm going to use an eyeshadow powder to do that. All right, so I'm going to use this brown shade here, and I'm just using this to dust across my lid everywhere where I added the concealer. So I'm setting to remove any additional moisture that may have been left behind by my primer concealer product. We want it to be nice and smooth and even so that everything I put on top is going to go in without me having to work hard. All right, so now that that's all done, I'm going to begin. So I'm going to be using my Anastasia Renaissance palette and my PYT Bungalow palette. So this is my Eye and Cheek palette from PYT. As you can see, I'm a fan, especially of this color that is all pan almost. It's a pretty gold shimmery. But I'm really going to focus on this bronze color here, this kind of burgundy, maybe purpley red shimmer color here. And I'm going to use some of this brown called Bahama Nirvana. So that's going to be the main focus of the colors that I'm going to use today. But I'm going to start off with my Modern Renaissance palette, and I'm going to use this orange here. It is called Real Gar. And what I'm going to do with that, I'm going to use this brush. I'm going to put this in my crease. So the crease is where the eyeball ends and the eye socket begins. So I'm going to add a little bit of color there. We like to call this a transition color so that there's a beautiful gradient to my lid. So starting going back and forth right here in my crease. I'm just going to take it back and forth, really warming that up. After I have that deposited and blended nicely, I'm going to continue blending in the same motion up towards the eyebrow and then back down towards my lash line so that there are no lines of demarcation, lines that show where the product begins or where the product ends. Beautiful professional makeup is seamlessly blended. And people often like to ask me, how long does it take to blend? Until it's done. It just takes the time it takes. The more you practice and the more comfortable you become, the easier it is. But it just takes time in the beginning. And always make sure you hold your tools towards the end. That will ensure you have a light touch. You don't use too much product. And I always like to give my brush a little tap to make sure that I don't have too much product on my brush. That helps with the fallout that may happen under my eye. And that's an extra cleanup job that I don't want to have to be a part of. All right, so now that I've got my nice transition color, I'm going to jump into my PYT palette. So I'm going to start here with this chocolate brown Bahama Nirvana. And I'm going to use my brush here. And I'm going to really saturate my brush with this color because I want a little depth. So I've got it all covered. Tap off the excess. So I'm going to start looking down and I'm going to press this into the outer corner of my eye. Here. Taking it up towards the crease. And I'm just patting, as you can see. I just want to blend this in beautifully with my transition color. And I don't want it to be too dark or too much. I want to look just fresh. This is going to add dimension, but not make it look like a glam look. And because I'm going fresh and flushed, the colors that I'm using, my main two colors, both have a little bit of a shimmer to them to really help to enhance this glow. All right, so now that that's on, I'm going to blend that in a little bit. So I'm going to go back in with my same brush that I used to apply the first color, my transition color, and just use it to soften any lines that I might have created. So everything should be beautifully blended. I'm going to add just a little more brown over here. Just to make sure everything has the same amount of color and tone. Perfect. All right, so now that that's on, I'm going to jump into my other two shimmery colors. So I have my Cabana Bay here and Blessed Out Bronze here. So I'm going to start with this one, and I'm going to use my fingers. So I'm going to go in with my ring finger here. Fresh and flushed. So to look fresh is going to be, and flush is what you look like after a healthy run or after working out a little bit at home, maybe a little quick jog. Your face has a little color to it. You look almost like you're glowing from the sweat. So instead of having to do any of that workout stuff, which is good for you, but who wants to do that? We just want to look naturally fresh and flush, like we just run every day. So that's the look that we're going for today. Something that's glowy, something that looks like I work out on a regular basis. So we're going to cheat the system. So now that I have my darker color on, I'm going to go in with my finger right here. And I'm going to coat my finger with this color. That's what it looks like. And I'm going to press this in with my finger to apply. And I'm going to start in the middle of my lid. And I'm going to overlap the darker color I put on. And notice I'm taking this all the way up to meet at my crease. And I'm going to take it over just a little bit towards the inner corner of my eye. So it's like over blending. over blending to ensure everything is blended. Now, I'm just gonna make sure all that is blended in. Oh, that's so pretty. And then I'm gonna go in with my brush that I use for my transition and do the same motion. Just get rid of any lines that I may have created when applying that color. So doing the other side, same finger. I'm gonna start here in the middle. And I don't know if you all can tell, but I'm holding my mirror down. And I always hold my mirror angled downward when I'm putting on eye products to ensure that my lid is at its maximum stretched so that I don't have any lines or wrinkles that I'm going to enhance or accentuate when applying my color. Just pressing this all over, taking it up to my crease. Like that, and then I'm going to blend out any lines that I may have created. Perfect. Nice, so pretty. All right, so I'm going to finish off with my Blissed Out Bronze. So I'm going to go in with my middle finger here. Maureen, that is a very good question. How do you know which brush to use? So the rule of thumb that I like to follow when picking a brush for a certain part of my face is ensuring that the brush is smaller than the area that I'm going to be applying makeup. For example, if I'm putting on blush and my cheek is here, I wouldn't use a brush this large to apply blush because it's going to get in places that I don't want it. So I would use a brush this size to make sure that the product gets exactly where I want it. Same thing for eyes. As you can see, I'm using this brush here, and I've used this brush here so far. These are the only brushes that I've used, and they're both smaller than the area where I'm applying the product. I hope I was able to help answer your question there. It can be a tricky thing, but I also like to tell everyone that you're welcome. Whatever brush you want to use it. You can make it work. You can do your whole look with one brush if you would like to. It's fun. It's an art. So wherever your heart leads you for your art, follow that. All right, so I'm gonna go in with my Blissed Out Bronze. To clean your brushes, is that what you were asking? I do clean my brushes every day, yes. I use, what was I using? I use brush cleaner to start. I use a little bit of alcohol to make sure that there's no bacteria in my brushes, and then I go in and really make sure I scrub them. I have a little scrubbing mat, and I really make sure that I get all the way down to the base of the brush, because down here is where the makeup likes to sit, and you'll notice that you can see makeup just sitting down here. So when I'm using my scrubber, I make sure that I'm getting in here just like this while I'm scrubbing it to ensure I get all the product out. All right, so I'm going to finish off my eye now. So I'm going to look down, and I'm going to apply this to the inner corner, and I'm going to have it overlap my first color. Oh. So I'm just pressing gently into my lid. And the reason I'm using my fingers for these is because we have natural oils in our hands that can pick up the shimmer and the reflective properties so much better and so much more beautiful and pigmented than a brush can. So again, I'm going to use the same brush, and I'm going to just blend out any lines that I may have created. Perfect. Looks so nice. All right, getting this right here in my corner, taking it up towards the crease, and just gently pressing over my second color. All right, so I'm gonna go in here and just blend this out. Back and forth, getting rid of any lines that I may have created. Now I just wanna make sure everything looks balanced. Beautiful makeup, beautiful professional makeup always has balance. And I'm gonna add just a little more of the Cabana Bay, this pinky color, to my left eye. just like that. So this is what it looks like. That's so nice. Nice and blended. So I'm going to now go in with my liner. So I'm going to use this to keep with my theme. I'm going to use my Lionfish. It is a nice shimmery brown liner. And this is going to help keep with my theme and add a little pop to my eyes. So what I'm going to do is go back and forth atop the cross of my lid, focusing on this outer corner. I was trying to do it while I held my mirror and that did not work. So I'm going to give it some color here. And I'm focusing it out here more because I want to keep the darkest part on this outer corner because this is a fresh look. And fresh looks don't typically have liner that go all the way across. I'm just going to keep it nice and light and just saturate out here. Same thing on this side. Really saturate it. Hope I didn't miss anybody's question. I can't see the chat right now. All right, perfect. So it just adds a little bit of definition to the outer part of my eye. And that's all I want for this look. I want to keep it less than defined, so I just look naturally beautiful. All right, so now that that's done, I'm going to jump down back into my face, and I'm going to finish off adding my concealer and my blush. So let's go in with the concealer, and I'm going to be using Amber and Cappuccino for my concealer today. They're different colors, so I mix them together. This is what they look like. One's a little darker, one's a little lighter, and I'm just going to mix them up to get them to be the perfect shade. So I'm going to go in with a clean brush. Yes, matching concealer can be difficult. So, what's this, Nikki? Hi. Yes, it is difficult to match concealer. You are on the fairer spectrum. So if you would like, if you don't mind hanging out a little bit after class, I can try to color match you with a concealer. To the best of my ability through Zoom, I can. But yeah, it's tricky. So I'm just gonna mix them together here on my brush. And I'm going to start under my eye with my concealer. I'm going to focus just where I need it. Because again, this is a fresh, flushed look. So I don't want to be super concealed where it looks like I have on piles of makeup. I just want a light touch. So just pressing this very gently under the eye because this concealer is so pigmented. You saw I barely used anything. I don't need much. Little goes a long way. So doing the same thing over here. I like to focus where it's the deepest and then take it all the way under. I'm just going to continue to blend. So I blend up my nose, down towards my cheek, and out towards my hairline. Just like that. So now that that's on, I'm going to go back in with my foundation brush, and I'm going to not put any more product on, but I'm just going to press everything in. So this is going to really help to make sure that there is no line where my concealer ends and my foundation begins, because it's supposed to be a secret. Nobody should know how much makeup you have on but you. That's the secret. So I'm going to take a little down the bridge of my nose to give me a little highlight down my nose. Same concealer, same brush. And I'm going to add just a little bit here on my forehead and between my brows. So I'm adding a little lightness here because the foundation made me flat. It took all my color and my dimension away. Sheila, I hope I'm saying that correctly. I am using the Becca Aqua Luminous Foundation. This is it here. I use that first, and now I'm going in with my Jouer concealers to really lighten and brighten and conceal the areas that I'm trying to cover and make look a little more normal. Press all this in. I did my nose, I did my forehead, and I'm adding just a little to my chin. So this is just adding some color and some dimension back into the face. So now that that's done, I'm not going to set that with any powder. I like to just see what the concealer is going to do first. The skin under the eye is so thin, I don't want to add so much product and make it look thin and dry, and it'll age me. So in order to avoid that, I like to just let the concealer sit there for a little bit while I finish the rest of my face. So I'm going to go in with my bronzer now. Where are you, bronzer? Here you are. So I'm going to use my cheek brush that I was showing you all earlier. This is it here. It kind of has an angle. And I'm going to go in with my soft focus powder from Jouer in Deep. And I'm going to get some product on my brush. Again, knock off the excess. And I'm going to start near my hairline. And I'm going to take it down my cheek, going in circular motions, up towards the hairline and down towards the cheek. The same thing on this side. And I always use circular motions when putting on products like this because I want to make sure that as I'm applying them, I'm blending them. I don't want to just streak it on and then now have to figure out how I'm going to get this to blend in. I'm going to start by making it blend. Then I'm going to take this up my forehead because you have to bronze the forehead. If you do it to the cheeks, remember, makeup has balance. You have to do the forehead as well and the jawline. I'm going to get my forehead nice and tan. And I really like bronzer. I could bronze myself all day. Just sit here and add a little more, add a little more. It's fun. It just gives this nice glow. It kind of completes the face. So now that I have it on my forehead and my cheeks, see, I look a little sculpted now too. I'm going to put it on my jawline. So I like to start behind my ear, following my jawline, and I just drag my brush down. I start behind the ear to ensure that there are no lines on where I began my bronzer. It's supposed to be a secret. And I take it all the way down. So now I'm going to circle motion, blend it down towards my neck and kind of on the jaw, up here on the jaw like that. So that there are no lines, but this will give me a beautiful differentiation between my face and my neck so everything won't just blend together. All right, so I'm going to go in with my foundation brush and just press everything in together. I always like to go over with my foundation brush. It's like a finisher to really get everything into the skin like you want. All right, so let's add a little blush. So for my blush, I have in front of me my Anastasia palette. I'm going to go in with this color here, Real Gar, the orange that I was using earlier. But I'm also going to top it off with Tiger Lily. So Tiger Lily is an actual blush from Becca, and it has shimmer in it. I don't know if you can see the reflection that's in it. It's a really pretty color, and it's going to help with this flush that I'm giving myself, this freshness that I'm going for. And don't forget, everything that I'm using is found on Blushington.com. And with the code BRIT10 with 1 T, you'll get 10% off your products. Who doesn't like to save a little bit of money? All right, so I'm going to use my same cheek brush that I was using earlier. Same one here. And I'm going to start with the eyeshadow color, Real Gar. So I'm going to go in, get some product on my brush, and I'm going to apply this to my cheeks. So I'm going to apply it to the top of my cheeks, and I'm going to take it upward to meet with the bronzer that I put on towards my hairline. So this is going to continue the lift that I'm giving my face. I'm giving my face the illusion that I had a mini facelift. So going in an upward motion, helping to lift all the products gives that illusion. All right, so now that I've got my first layer of blush on, I'm gonna go in with my sparkly blush. So I'm gonna go in with my brush here, tap off the excess, and I'm really gonna make sure I tap off the excess because I want to make sure. Uh-oh, I think somebody's sharing their screen. Oh, let's see. I think it's Sophia. Sophia, I believe you might be sharing your screen right now with us. Awesome. So I'm going to go back in with my blush brush here with my new color on it, Tiger Lily. And I'm going to pop this shimmer right on the apples of the cheek. And that's the only place I'm going to focus this because it has shimmer. I don't want shimmer everywhere on my face. Tap that off, and I'm just going to focus on my apples. Really getting that shimmer on to intensify this glow. But it's a soft glow, so it's not glittery like a child. It's an elevated glow. This is the adult version. All right. So now that I have that on, I'm going to add a little bit of highlighter. But first, I'm going to finish off my eyes. So using the same lionfish, I'm going to go in with my pencil at the bottom. And I'm going to take this on the lash line. And I'm meeting it with the top so that there is no gap between the top and the bottom. You don't want to have that gap of skin peeking through right there. You want to make sure you get all that. And I'm going to focus this color right here on the outside of my eye because, again, I want to keep my eyes looking open and fresh. So I'm going to go in with my pencil brush, and I'm going to just blend out this liner, soften this liner, and then drag it to my inner corner here. Perfect. Oh, yes, yes, yes. So nice when makeup cooperates. Can't say that this always happens, but I'm glad it's happening here with you. So same thing on this side, taking it through my lash line, connecting it with the top. Trying not to cry, even though I kind of want to. I don't know how people put on eyeliner and don't cry. I cry every time. So I'm going to blend this out and then swipe it over towards the inner tear duct. See, I'm crying and getting wet everywhere. All right. All right, just like that. So I'm going to also add a little bit of my, what color is this? My Blissed Out Bronze, this color here. I'm going to add a little bit of that into my inner corner. I can see it over here and I like it. So I'm going to do that over here also. So I'm going to just use my little angled brush to make sure I get in there and just add that little pop like that. And then I'm going to take that down the bottom to meet with the liner so that there's completion in the eye and there's balance. Like in math, whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other. Same with eyes. Whatever you do to the top, you got to do something to the bottom. All right, so now that my eyes are done, I'm going to finally add my highlighter. So I'm going to go in with my Rose Gold highlighter from Becca, which is one of my absolute favorites. It's so flattering on a large array of skin tones, which is why it's one of my favorites. And I'm going to go in with, thank you so much. I'm going to go in with the same brush that I've been using. This was my transition brush. This was the brush that I used to help get rid of any lines in my eyeshadow. And I'm also going to use the same brush for my highlight. So I'm going to focus my highlight right here on the topmost part of my cheekbone first. And I'm going to apply it in some circular motions. Because again, I really want this to blend in with my skin. I don't want an area of my face where you can tell I added highlighter right there. I just want to look lit, for lack of a better word. So same thing on this side, circular motions, following the bone. So my bone comes on top of my eyebrow. Some people's comes under the eyebrow. So you want to pay attention and follow your bone structure. Just like that. Looks good. The saddest part about these classes is that I have nowhere to go after. That's it. I do this beautiful work and I just want to show people. So I'm going to add a little bit of highlighter down the bridge of my nose as well. And I'm going to put a little bit on my Cupid's bow. So I'm going to just take it down my nose, add a little to the tip. And I like to press it in with my finger just to make sure that I don't have too much down the bridge of my nose. I don't want it to be frosty. And then give a little to my Cupid's bow. I like putting it on the top part of my lip because it gives my lips the illusion they're a little bit fuller. And who doesn't want that? Everybody likes a full lip. All right, so let's put on our lip. So I am going to start with my lip liner here. I'm going to use a flesh colored lip liner. You know what? I will do that. I will take lots of pictures for Instagram. That'll be fun. It'll give me something to do with this face. Thank you so much. So I'm going to start at the bottom to line my lips. So to make sure that my lips continue this voluptuousness that I'm giving them, I'm not going to line my entire lip at the bottom. I'm going to leave this gap. So that's going to give the illusion that my lip is still continuing. It's still making my bottom lip just look bigger, like it's just folded under. Because a big bottom lip usually has a little fold underneath, so you can't see the bottom of it. So by not lining the bottom, I'm giving the illusion that my lip is fuller than it is. And I already did that to the top, adding the highlighter. So I'm just going to follow the highlighter to line the top of my lip. Hello, welcome. You can join us. Have a seat. Is this the daughter? Welcome, welcome.
She's not mine. She's very curious.
Oh, yes, come join. Yes, makeup can be applied to make you look better as you put it on Zoom. So what you could do for Zoom makeup, when I'm in a meeting and I feel like I need to have a nice face on, I always add more. So think about what you would do normally if you were running to the store and the world could see your full face. That, and then just add a little bit more product and it'll show up beautifully in Zoom. And also remember, we have Zoom specific makeup classes on Blushington.com's website. And you can make a class to learn how to do your makeup to look your best in Zoom. So you can visit us on Blushington.com to make that appointment. And you can always request any makeup artist that you're welcome. Any makeup artist that you've ever been in classes with, you can request them as well. So I'm going to give myself a really nice defined Cupid's bow. And just fill in my lip just a little bit at the top. Blending everything together, pressing it in. Let me grab my gloss. Oh no. So I'm going to go in with a deeper kind of mauvey nude looking gloss here. And I'm going to start here in the middle and I'm going to bring my gloss all the way down to the area where I didn't put liner, making sure it's all right there. So you can see already my lip just looks like someone pulled it down a little bit. And then I'm going to take it to the sides. So my bottom lip just looks, look at that, juicy. So I'm going to do the top, adding a little gloss there. And yes, I am going over the lip liner, top and bottom. If I don't cover it, it won't blend well, and then I will look like I'm from the 90s, which is not a bad thing, but not the look I was going for today. So to finish off, I'm going to add mascara. I'm just going to put a little mascara at the bottom lashes. I have lash extensions, so I'm not going to put any at the top. And I'm going to add a little bit of brow gel to my brows because I didn't like the way they looked. So this is just a clear brow gel. It comes in our Brow Duo from Anastasia. And I'm going to use my Anastasia Lash Brag Mascara. So I love putting mascara on my bottom lashes. I'm going to start there. Even if I was putting mascara on the top, I would still start on my bottom lashes to make sure that I don't make a mistake or get mascara on my skin. So I'm just going to kind of wiggle it through. Do the same thing on this side. And there you have it. This right here is my fresh and flushed look. So I look very fresh-faced, very natural. I don't look like I have on too much makeup, except for the eyes. They glow a little bit, so there's a little more there. But the rest of me, my skin still looks like my skin, and that's what's important. That's what keeps the makeup looking its most natural and its most fresh. So this is it, everybody. I hope you enjoyed, and thank you so much for joining me. Please remember, you can use the code BRIT10 to get 10% off the products. Thank you so much. I had fun with you guys today, my new friends. Thank you all for joining me in this complimentary class. I will have another class next week. It'll be my last class of the month, and we're going to do, drum roll, a holiday look. So it's going to be fun. It's going to have a little more sparkle. You're welcome, Christina. Thank you, and thank you for joining.